invested in real estate for 45 years, before Pace was even born. And in the last 5 years, I think or so, all of a sudden, Pace Morby appears, makes claims that are totally ridiculous. Look, I've been a builder, I've been a licensed contractor builder for over 40 years, right? I started in a cabinet shop doing finished carpentry. I've built homes, I've built buildings, I've done many, many renovations, and that's just a part of the things. So listen, when somebody makes outrageous claims, it's not being a hater to question whether or not they're telling the truth, and that's what I've done with Pace. He on his Facebook page he makes a claim of renovating 7,000 homes in 10 years. That's nearly 2 homes a day, every day, without taking a Saturday or Sunday off, without taking a vacation day off, without taking any days off, period. Okay? First of all, and to be objective and fair, I ran that through AI so AI could take a look, right? And what did AI say? The interpretation would be not true. Okay, what AI said was he would have to redefine the word renovation for that to be true. In other words, it's not true. It's absolutely not true. I know it's not true. Look, I'm heading to three of my jobs that I've got going right now. When I say jobs, I don't mean that where I'm working for somebody else. I'm talking about renovations, right? I've got a new roof being put on a building right now with some other extra work. I've got cabinets going in on another property, and we're actually pulling a shed out and replacing some fascia on another job. Okay, you can call those renovations. Hey, do you think I could do two of those a day? Two a day? Listen, anybody that's a builder, anybody that actually knows what a renovation is, would never believe that. And anybody that actually knows what a renovation is would never make that claim. So this is, so I want to just define. I am not a Pace Morby hater. I do not like much of what he says. I think it's untrue. I've caught him absolutely in lies. You can go look at the bunny story on my page, the bunny story. That is in, I mean, he tells the same story. Jeannie Munson, school teacher, okay, in both of them, $100,000 disparity. So when you have two stories that are very different, it makes you maybe both are possibly false. So I've got a webinar tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. Urge you to get into it. I've got Pace Morby students. Some have, listen. First of all, most of his students don't even qualify to be in my class, to be quite honest. Too gullible, just not so bright. Some of them, I hate to say it, but there are some that they said just in a weakness of not doing their due diligence, they joined, and those students have joined my mentorship. And it's not like I'm after them. Listen, he's already got their money, so obviously I'm not trying to take from Pace. They've already been chewed up and spit out, so to speak, or those are some of their words. But what I would tell you is anybody that makes claims to have special skills, and I do. Listen, I don't think there's a better mentor. I don't think there's a better real estate investor out there. None that you're going to find on YouTube, anyways, because I haven't been able to find any. And I'm happy to talk to anybody, any that are. But unfortunately, YouTube is a swamp university. It's people say, oh, it's a great university. It's a university, but it's not a very good university. There's a lot of BS out there, and so I'm trying to keep it clean for kids when I talk in here too, because I actually made this video recommended for kids. Because listen, a kid to me is 40 years old. I'm 64 years old. I've been investing. I've been making tens of millions of dollars over my lifetime, and I have industrial, commercial, office space. I have shopping centers. I have one right now that is in that $5 million range that I'll be trading up and buying something probably closer to $10 million with this next purchase. This is real experience. This is the kind of experience that those of you that are actually looking for education, you want to see somebody like me, or you should certainly, at a minimum, be comparing somebody like me to Pace, because Pace makes outrageous claims that I don't believe are true at all. Pace, I'd be happy to have a one-on-one. In fact, if we could have a separate podcaster drill us, have a debate, because I really think that so much of what comes out of your mouth is absolutely false. Terrible advice I've seen, and I would explain that and question that in a one-on-one easily. Sub 2, one of the first properties I ever did was a Sub 2. The Sub 2 gets marketed as being something that is highly probable, and it's not. It's not. I could tell you that you could buy property, nothing down, no interest. Now I could say that because I've witnessed it. I haven't actually done that exactly, but one of my students actually did it, and that's the thing. I've got the best and brightest students, and I would challenge anybody to take a look at my success page, Pace Morby's page. That's another point. So you've got these ridiculous claims on his YouTube page saying he's done 7,000 homes, but even like I said, even AI would say is absolutely ridiculous and impossible, which concurs with how I feel. But they say you would have to redefine the word. In other words, it's not true. You'd have to change renovation to a word like he looked at something. Okay? In other words, that's about the only way you could do it. Anybody that's ever pulled a permit would know that too, by the way. Anyways, so let's keep going. The bunny story, absolutely ridiculous claims. And I'm going to run these out. I'll run these out over the next week or two and be very specific because I saw a little clip where Pace is talking to another guy and he goes, yeah, they're haters because they're just not as good of marketers. Now, I agree. I agree with that, okay? Now, defining good marketer, that's subjective, right? If you're willing to say anything, if you're willing to lie, if you're willing to exaggerate, you can go far. You can go very far in making sales. But I won't do that, right? I will not do that. I'm not gonna ever compromise my values or my ethics. And I'm not saying Pace has. I don't know his history. But what I can say is that he has made things that are absolutely untrue because you can't tell two stories in two different ways. One of them's a lie. There's no other way. You guys, some people say, "Oh, don't say that about Pace." You know what? Listen, you want to open your eyes or you can close your eyes, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I really don't care. Anybody that is willingly ignorant, willingly, going to subject themselves or want to believe into some fantasy that isn't there. Now, and I can talk about a lot of things. So you got the bunny story, you got that. He did an interview with Grant Cardone, and all of a sudden, I think there was like $1 million discrepancy on that one. But I've never seen Pace make a deal. I've never seen a deal that he's done that I would do. In other words, none of them are good enough. And if you look at his interviews with Mr. 84, Mr. 74, there's never specifics on dollars amount made. Dollars amount made. In fact, everything is so ambiguous and vague that you have to stretch to your imagination to do it. Now, let's talk about testimonials. Pace's testimonials were so poor, I recorded 90 minutes of them. And I can tell you, zero success. Zero success. Nothing qualified or quantified with a dollar amount. And again, if that is something that you don't care about, then again, this is being willfully ignorant, right? Anyways, I'm about to get to a job, and this is actually a job that I say job. This is a property I just bought about 3 weeks ago. In fact, I'll show it to you in the mentorship or in the webinar tomorrow. If you get in the webinar, and I urge you to do so, this is a property. On average, I probably make on every $300,000 I spend, I make 150,000, and that goes for all my students too. Now, we do have, as long as you're in the game and you're doing this, once in a while you get a grand slam, make $1 million, make a couple $1 million, done that. In fact, this is one of them that I'm heading to right now that I expect it to make at least $1 million. And I mean, that means I could sell it right now and make $1 million. I don't mean, way down the road. I mean, right now. And that doesn't happen all the time. Now, that took $900,000, but again, like I said, I make on average 150,000 for every 300 grand that I spend, and this actually exceeds that. That's actually making a 1-for-1. In other words, I spend 900 and I'm going to make more than 900. That's a good return. That's why I look for students that have 25,000 and up. I have programs. I actually created a program now that's so really, so Pace Morby like students can get in at a cheaper amount, because it's better you get started than not get started at all. I charge quite a bit. I think it's still less than Pace for my gold mentorship. Uh, and you can see the results in that and the success. People that have made tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, $1 million. Some have even made multi-millions now. And these are real. In other words, we talk about the money. We show the property. There's anybody that would buy a testimonial as vague as the ones that I've seen Pace claim. I mean, you know what? That just, you're automatically unqualified, because you're just not bright enough to you know what I mean? And that's harsh, right? But that's how it is. Yeah, this idea that everybody's a go-giver and you go into a community where everybody loves each other and here, let's share, let's share. That's ridiculous. That's not real estate. Real estate is like more like pirates and treasure, right? Treasure. You got a treasure map. You don't share your treasure map. Hey, everybody, look at my treasure map. See the X? That's where the money is. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. So if you consider yourself a good businessman, if you consider yourself savvy and smart, but you understand that you just maybe need a little direction, I'm your man. Go to the webinar tonight. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button right now. Don't let my channel get away from you. I got like 65% of the people that watch my channel don't subscribe. Doesn't make sense. You're going to lose me, and then you're going to lose what could be the difference of being very, very successful. So, anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. I'm about to get to my latest project, which I will share tomorrow. And thanks for watching, and I'll be back live often today, I think. See ya.